Good evening and welcome to Blueprint Explosive Exclusive. I'm Madhavdas G. Over the next half an hour, we're going to get you a fresh twist that has emerged as far as the investigation into AI-171 is concerned. The AIB report is yet to be out, but there's a fresh investigation and a twist that has emerged in the entire probe. Now, the Federation of Indian Pilots seeking the new Boeing 787 simulator tests. In fact, they've done these tests to verify the timeline around the deployment of the RAM, or the RAM air turbine, or the RAT to be more specific. The pilot's body is questioned. The 4 seconds gap between the fuel interruption and the RAT power generation. The FIP president, Captain C.S. Randhawa, has received a letter from D. Michael Andrews of Beasley Allen, a US law firm representing the passengers and families affected by the accident. Captain Randhawa has written to the DG of AIB. According to the letter submitted, simulator tests have shown that the RAT hydraulic power normally takes around 18 seconds after fuel interruption, while in the AI-171 timeline recorded, it is just in the span of 4 to 5 seconds. How can that happen? Now, the key question emerging is that was the RAT deployment a result of engine power loss, or was another electrical or system issue already unfolding before it? The pilot body has asked investigators to conduct fresh simulator runs and correlate the RAT data, flight recorder information and aircraft system messages to establish the exact sequence of events. Now, this new finding could very well debunk the pilot error theory, which has been doing rounds since the preliminary report. Before we tell you about the RAM conundrum, let's also give you the preliminary findings of the AI-171 crash as per the Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau, or the AIB. Now, it says that both engine fuel switches moved from the run to the cutoff position seconds after liftoff, cutting the fuel supply to the aircraft's 2 engines. The result? A double engine failure leading to the crash. The cockpit recording also captures pilots expressing confusion over the cutoff signal. The preliminary report published on July 12, 2025 said that the RAM air turbine deployed immediately as an emergency power response, while the emergency locator transmitter failed to activate in this particular case. Now, these are some of the preliminary findings. Let's also give you an idea about the function of the RAM air turbine in an aircraft. This is the aircraft's emergency power backup. The RAM air turbine, or RAT, is a wind-driven emergency generator that automatically deploys when an aircraft suffers a major or total power loss, and that's really the role of it. It also provides vital electrical and hydraulic power support as far as the aircraft is concerned, keeps critical flight instruments functioning once it is deployed, and acts as the aircraft's absolute last resort in such emergency situations. This is the specific requirement or the use as far as this particular RAT is concerned, and it's pretty much the last defense of the aircraft in the sky. Let's also tell you about the RAT conundrum and the letter written by D. Michael Andrews of Beasley Allen, a US law firm that's representing passengers and families affected. Now, Andrews has attached as proof the simulator test. And what does the simulator test specifically say? It notes 8842 UTC as a fuel cutoff on the engine 1. This is as per DM Andrews' Beasley Allen report. They've also gone on to say that 8843 UTC is the fuel cutoff on the other engine that has been reported as well. They've also said that 8847 UTC is the RAT hydraulic power generation that has taken place, and therefore the RAT activated 4 seconds after the dual engine fuel cutoff. That is, of course, point number 1. The normal RAT hydraulic activation takes 18 seconds is what they say. The 14-second discrepancy, therefore, has raised key technical questions, is the argument being made over here, and RAT may have well been deployed before the engine fuel cutoff. So there could be another possible reason is what they are saying. This is, of course, as far as the fuel cutoff on engine 1 is concerned, 8842, that has been mentioned as far as this particular report is concerned. Let's also, in fact, open this up and take it across to our guests to try and understand this. Captain Amit Singh, aviation expert and founder of Safety Matters Foundation, is with us. C.S. Randhawa, Captain, President of the Federation of Indian Pilots, also with us. Sarosh Damania is an aviation lawyer, also joining us. Let me come across to you first. And Captain Randhawa, what does this conclusively prove? Does this mean that the RAT could not have, the fact that it's deployed earlier, does this mean conclusively that there is no question or scope of pilot error now?
See, first and foremost thing, I'd like to tell the viewers that these tests were performed on a simulator. Now, simulator on a 787 aircraft, like every aircraft has got a simulator where the pilots undergo the training. And the simulator certification testimony is as per the aircraft actual, whether it is the generation of the actual power by the aircraft, whether the controls, how they behave, it is absolutely the same as what we will get in the aircraft. So this tests were conducted by Mike Andrews' company at some location, and it was as per the same weight, speeds, thrust settings, and weather conditions which existed, like winds were 2406 knots, temperature was 31, the pressure was 1001 hectopascal, and the weight of the aircraft was 213,401 kgs. So all these parameters were replicated same on the simulator. Now, what you rightly said, Madhav, that at 42, the engine 1 was cut off, the engine 2 was cut off at 42. Now, the point is that 9 out of 10 tests confirmed that the hydraulic power generation takes approximately 18 seconds. And in these tests, it was also confirmed. Now, if it takes 18 seconds, now let us go back. Firstly, there are some conditions which are required to be met before this rat is deployed.
Let's get a quick response from Mr. Damania as well. Mr. Damania, this is the conclusive evidence. 18 seconds is the time taken for the rat. How could it have been deployed in 4 seconds?
See, understand, when an aircraft crashes, there are multiple phenomena to it. It is not a standard operation. Now, simulator, what does a simulator do is simulator is running a standard operating aspect of it. Of course, wind speed, everything, all that can be adjusted. But the aircraft itself, the accident is still under investigation. Now, we cannot come to a conclusion. This also report is done by a law firm who is representing the victims over there. Of course, they will try to do everything in their power for their client to prove the case in their favor. So we have to wait and await the final report, because the ICAO, the international guidelines also say, see, finding the investigation report is not a fact. It is a fact-finding situation. It is not to blame fault or put fault on the manufacturer or the pilot or anybody. Now, many things are revealing who is at fault. Of course, we need to know what is the cause of it, but let us wait and let the final report come out for the conclusion to come out. Now, just because one person has done a simulator run and they have to say something, of course, technicalities of it, nobody can deny how many seconds are required or not required. But we need to await the final report to come out to come to a conclusion.
That is not the point of contention. Sarosh, that is not the point of contention. We are not trying to say, and for your kind information, if Beasley and Company has done this simulator, he has not manufactured the simulator himself. This is a simulator which is manufactured by CA or some other company.
It is not about a defect in the simulator, but it has to be an overall situation.
No, you can't.
They cannot replicate a crash situation.
No.
It cannot be exactly replicated.
I do not agree. No.
You have a different set of pilots, different engineering,
maintenance.
We understand history of the aircraft, maintenance of the aircraft. That all can't be.
Just listen to me. We have been saying that this the rat after the RAB deployment, if it is taking place in normal conditions, it takes 18 seconds for the that is documented.
I am not disagreeing. There may be an issue.
So one sec. We have written to the AIB. Don't support AIB, please. Now we have written to the AIB. Yes,
I am not supporting. I am just putting a perspective that let us wait. What is the harm in awaiting conclusion before coming to any conclusion?
Okay, gentlemen, allow me to come in. I'm going to factor in both your concerns. Both of you have points that you're making, and let me bring that point across to Captain Amit Singh. Captain Amit Singh, the point being made here by both sides is very simple. At the end of the day, this is a study that has been done by the lawyers of an interested party. And of course, nobody is saying that there should not be any justice for the victims of this particular crash. But at the end of the day, you will have to factor that in when you look at these particular findings as well. I think that's largely the point that is being made here by Mr. Damania as well. Do you also find, and you have also done a similar study, I believe, Captain Amit Singh, were your findings also similar to this?
See, all this information is already available in the preliminary report. If you see the timeline, we have to work backwards. They say, the preliminary report says the hydraulic power generation started at 080847. Boeing documents say it takes 6 seconds for the rack to pressurize. You go back to 41, it takes a couple of seconds for the rack to deploy. So it is around the airborne time, which is 3:09. So this simulator is just a confirmation of the fact that the fuel control switches cut off did not cause the accident. The cause was somewhere around the liftoff point. Had the fuel control switches been the cause, then it would have taken 15 seconds or 18 seconds for the rat to deploy. But the rat was pressurizing in about 3 seconds after the fuel control was cut off. So this is only a confirmation that the whole narrative which was built towards pilot error or pilot suicide should be shut down once and for all. So there are certain more conditions.
Amit, I don't agree with you. First and foremost things, the rat will start deploying after the engines cool down below the flight idle. It takes approximately 10 to 12 seconds, which the tests have confirmed, that from the time the engine is shut down, then it takes 10 to 12 seconds. And after that, it takes 6 seconds for the rat to deploy and give the hydraulic power. So how is the AIB report correct? That 47, the hydraulic pressure is deployed?
Oh,
that is a recorded thing.
No.
So we cannot dispute it.
We are here talking about the simulator testing which has been done, which is at variance with, and this is what we have been saying right from March. We have been requesting the AIB to conduct a simulator test. Till date, they have not done it. And to ratify all these timings, I had written in March to AIB.
Okay.
But till today, they have not done it.
Okay, let me put that question across to Sarosh Damania. Sarosh Damania, why should the AIB not conduct a simulator test which you can try and relive the entire situation? Because the aircraft, the way it functions is pretty much standard. There is a standard operating procedure as far as any particular aircraft is concerned. So why should there not be a similar simulator test to try and look at the parameters and how the aircraft itself functions? Isn't that a fair ask?
No, there are multiple provisions to how to check the aircraft. Now, see, they are the experts over there. They are following certain protocols. They are following certain standards. Of course, there is no harm in doing something addition to it to reconfirm something or, just wave off the doubts. But just because there is a UN cry, because somebody has done it, they also should do it. Then let them follow the procedure. If the report is wrong, if you find in the final report the finding is not correct, it always can be questioned. But let us see what they have to say about it. We are prejudging that the interim report is the conclusion.
No. I think Sarosh. At a time when the report has not come out at the correct point of time, the ICAO recommendation is within a year. The government says there is more time required, and be that as it may. I'm not going to get into the merits or the demerits of why they have delayed the report. But the point is, everyone, including the victims' families, the lawyers, whoever is involved, has a right to put out their opinion. If they are demanding that a certain set of practices and procedures should be followed, who is anybody to question that?
Madhav, I would like to intervene. And just...
okay, go ahead, Captain Andava.
Let Sarosh know that how the protocols are maintained. In case of the accident of Airbus 320, which crash landed into Hudson Bay, okay, simulator was carried out. First, they blamed Captain Sully. Okay, 35 times out of 35 times, the aircraft crashed and it could not land at LaGuardia Airport. And then they made him a hero. So Damania does not know that simulator testing in such cases is very, very important to ratify the timings. It is not at whims and fancies because he's the lawyer and he conducted on behalf of the... No, that is absolutely incorrect.
Sarosh Damania.
it is not, see, it is not about a whims and fancies or something. But of course, they've taken a year toying, they are doing something. It is not they are just sitting idle and doing nothing about it. Preliminarily, what findings came out were preliminary findings. They are taking more than a year's time, but they'll be doing something. They're not just sitting idle in the office and doing nothing with the files. Or they are doing some research on it. They did some tests were done in US. In between, they traveled to Boeing facility also to have some test check on equipment. So they're working on it. It is not if they are not working on it. So things are going on. So why?
No, Sarosh, the point. No, I think we are missing the wood for the trees. Nobody is saying they're doing nothing. The point is to arrive at the correct conclusion. And if there is another method or another set of data that allows us to come to that conclusion, then so be that as it may. But let me bring in Captain Amit Singh as well. Captain Amit Singh, the point over here is very important that we need to look at simulator testing. And simulator testing to look at the kind of conditions that existed inside the cockpit and as far as the aircraft is concerned. How important is that simulator testing? Because Captain Randhawa is arguing that AIB is not doing that.
In every major or complex accident, simulator testing is done so that you can simulate whatever data that you have. Does it produce the outcome of what you see or an accident, or can it be flown safely? In the past in India, the Aurangabad crash, which happened, simulator testing was done. In Ahmedabad's crash, simulator testing was done. Those accidents were investigated by the High Court judges. Abroad, everywhere simulator testing is done. So that is an indication that are you going the right way or not. It may not replicate 100% the same thing, which means pilot actions could be different, slower, faster. Things may be different because this aircraft took about 10 seconds more to take off. So what was the reason? That we don't know. But for one thing is pretty sure, whatever has happened not due to the fuel control switches cut off, but well before it happened. So this timing is confirmed by the fuel. So
you're also concluding that the pilot error is not responsible, as was being suggested after the interim report by various sources, including foreign media. In a nutshell, that's your argument, Captain Amit Singh.
Correct. There are multiple sources or points in the preliminary report. If you see the voice, the CVR recording, the statement, why did you cut off? Why couldn't they identify who said that? The speaker, the captain or co-pilot. Because when an electrical failure happens, RAD deploys, only the area mic works. That cannot differentiate. So something has happened. The speed, 180 knots, that after the fuel control switches, will the aircraft reach the maximum speed? Not before. So how can 180 be the maximum speed? Because something happened before. So clearly, whatever happened has happened before. That is what the investigators must concentrate on, rather than diverting towards the pilot theory or the suicide theory.
All right, we'll have to leave it there. Captain Amit Singh, of course, Sarosh Damania and Captain Randhawa, all eyes on that final AIB report. How much of this will be reflected, and will it be reflected, of course, remains to be a very, very important factor. What the cause of this particular accident is something that all Indians are going to be watching out for very, very closely. Thanks so much for joining us this evening.